Math is important. You use it in your everyday life. For example, calculating what time you'll be at a destination. It is very important that you continue and learning math. Math rocks. I love math.
Hey guys, I just wanted to go over your stats project, your performance task assessment. Alright, so here I have this introduction. In all of your educational career, was there a topic you had in mind that was never discussed or explored? This could be such as social emotional health, a social justice issue, or environmental issues. The goal of this performance task assessment is to explore such topics from your mathematical or statistical lens and then create an action plan, the 10 steps that are going to be in this slide. Imagine being influenced by such a simple commercial. So I have this really old commercial in the 80s, and I saw this like all the time, and everybody remembers it. They're saying that your egg, this is your brain, and this is drugs. Well, it's like a hot pan frying, and then this is your brain on drugs. So they crack the egg and they put it into the pan, and then they would say, do you have any questions? You can YouTube search it, and it has like really scary music, and you're a little kid, and you're like, whoa, like I don't want my brain to be on drugs. I don't want my head to be cracked like that. And yeah, so let's go on to this next step here. Shout out to Michelle and Tina from like 10 years ago. They created this really cool storyboard, and you guys are going to create something very similar. Step number 1, I want you to select a school-appropriate topic of interest to you, such as like a sport, video games, something that's dealing with teenagers, vaping, depression, cheating. Consider a question or a hypothesis. It's basically a hypothesis is a testable on the basis of observed data. And you're going to fill out this chart. So step number 1 is decide on a hypothesis based on the point of interest. Go ahead and put in your answer over here, topic of interest, what's the independent variable, what's the dependent variable, and state the problem you're trying to do. So go ahead and change these blanks here. If, I don't know, for mine is in the teaching profession, the problem is there's a shortage, and the solution is incentives for new teachers. So that's kind of like my topic and my theme. Write the hypothesis as an if-then statement. If recruitment of teachers is taken, then more teachers is expected for the future. Here's some other hints for step number 1 in a hypothesis checklist. Does your hypothesis focus on something that you can actually test? Does your hypothesis include both an independent and dependent variable? Can you manipulate the variables? Can your hypothesis be tested without violating ethical standards? Remember, a hypothesis often states a basic form of if this happens, then this will happen. One way to structure a hypothesis is to describe what will happen to the dependent variable if you make changes in the independent variable. The basic format might be, if these changes are made to a certain independent variable, then we will observe a change in a specific dependent variable. I got this from a website. You can click on that. And I have 5 examples below of examples of a hypothesis. Okay, step number 2 is draw the 10-story panel board and decide a plan of action. So you're going to draw out a storyboard like on slide number 2. So up here is slide number 2, and Tina and Michelle created something that looked like this. But when you guys create this, you can do it visual, you can do stick figures, it doesn't have to be fancy like this. What I want you to include is a timeline or self-imposed due dates. This is really helpful because it kind of helps you map out what's happening. And then go ahead on slide number 6, go ahead and insert your storyboard here. Okay, step number 3 is to create a survey that corresponds with your goals, ideas, and your hypothesis. Basically create a Google form, which is like a survey. You know, instead of creating a Google document or Google Sheets or Google Slideshow, you'll have one that's called a Google form. And right here, you're going to insert the link to actually take the survey. Okay, step number 4, distribute the survey in a well-organized manner. Decide on the sample and method of distribution. Consider how to make your survey at random and include a large range of selection. I don't have here, but you should have a sample size. Need a sample size of at least 50 people to take your survey. Consider, do you have a method to distribute your survey? You can see that, do you want equal representation of boys and girls? Do you want an equal representation of 9th, 11th, or 12th graders? Do you want a certain amount of adults? How will you ensure randomization? How did you not just pass it out to your friends? And even answer the question, how would you reduce biasm? If I just turn it to my social media, maybe those are just people who are just like me. Might be educators, they might be Asian, they might be just somewhere in my age range of the 30s and 40s. And then go ahead and type out your answer here and change your answer to yellow. The reason I'm asking you guys to type this out is one of the end products you'll see is to create a video making of this project. Step number 5, collect and organize survey results and data. Using the results from your Google form, go to the results or the spreadsheet. Give me a link to your spreadsheet here so I can actually click on it and see the spreadsheet. And process the data from dirty to clean. So how would you organize it? You can just right click on top of a column and you can organize it. You can organize it by name, you can organize it by gender, you can organize it by grade level, you can organize it by answers. Maybe it's like, what's your shoe size, right? You can go from least to greatest. You can go from last name alphabetical or last name alphabetical. You can do it by date. Describe how you organized your data and put your answer down here. Just a sentence or two. Ones I just described. Okay, step number 6, analyze data, draw conclusions, and create charts and graphs that will represent your findings. So create 3 different types of graphs. So like a pie chart, you have a bar graph here, maybe you want to do a histogram, you could do a box plot, anything we've studied in chapters 1 and 2. Create a total of 5 graphs. So maybe it's based off of gender, maybe it's grade levels, ages. And does each graph represent a categorical or numerical data? Make sure each graph includes a title and legend. And what are some conclusions you can draw? So using your Google Sheets, you can click on your data, and then you can right click it, and you'll click on this one that looks like a chart, and then it tells you how to make a chart. And then insert those on your next slides. If you need to, you can just press right click here and then duplicate slides and you can get more. Okay, what's your conclusions from analyzing the data? You might want to write like a paragraph here. This is like you're seeing your data, this is like your summary, this is your comparison. We've talked about this in class. Step number 7, interview persons of influence in a professional and organized manner. So this should be based off of your topic. So if mine is the teaching profession, maybe I can get I said extra, so options, pick one. Extra credit if you can get a professional on the topic. Maybe for me, because I know people, maybe I can talk to someone at the university level like Cal State Fullerton and ask them how is their teaching program, what are their needs. Maybe I can get an interview with the superintendent of our district. What are your needs? How are we having enough educators or teachers? Now, I did say you can also, interviewing an educator, like an adult on campus, would also suffice. Maybe it's just a 20-second, 30 seconds based off the topic. What are their thoughts? Or you can also find 3 academic articles based on your topic. Academic articles is not necessarily just a Google search on it, but your English teachers have taught you how to look at more reviewed journal articles. And highlight the option you selected above. So if I'm going to interview someone, and then change the highlighting. Okay, step number 8, plan and create a public service announcement. So this is kind of like your final product. This is like someone watched this for 20 seconds. Would they stop doing what they were doing? Go ahead and insert your link there. Make sure you change your share settings. Step 9A is a capstone reflection on the 5 C's based off this project. You might want to use that for your capstone interview if you're a senior. And it's great to put in your portfolio because it basically helps us reflect on what we've been learning. Make sure to change your share settings. Anyone with the link can view, and insert your link for your copy here. So you make a copy of this one and then fill it out and put it there. So you should be doing this at the end of your project. You might want to do this one the very last. I didn't call it step 11. I just made it 9A. I don't know, make it nice and easy, but you might want to do it at the very end. Step 9B, collect all video data and edit them in a clear and confident way. So you're basically creating 2 videos. The second video is like your end product, your public service announcement. People watch this, you put it on your school announcement. People are like, whoa, I don't think I should do that, right? All right, you have a change of thinking. But here, video number 1 is the making of your stats project, right? Behind the scenes, you basically record all the steps in your slideshow. You can also include bloopers at the end and then insert your video link here. It could be a Google Drive if you feel more comfortable, or you can do a YouTube. And just like my students from the past, that project's up there forever as long as you keep it up there. And then step number 10, turn in the video to Mr. Ng. You're basically going to turn in this whole project, the slideshow, which has all the links and everything going in there. You can click on this Google form and then just fill that out. And this last slideshow is, this last slide is just a scoring rubric. So you, for yourself, you can click on done. You can just put an X or something. That's to help you. But when I grade it, I'm going to give you some points, right? And you can see which ones are more significant. So like the making of your video is the biggest one because it actually summarizes everything that you've been talking about. Okay, so this is my 10-minute video on how to do your project. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
I forgot my pen, so I'm reading my work in pen. Oh no, you can't do that, huh? Who are you? You can't do that. Because if you do that, you're writing your work with a pen, and that's not right. You shall never do your math work with pen. Oh, okay, I'm so sorry. It's okay.